What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chelsea Southampton preview. Yes, it's only a few days removed from the Dortmund one, but the games are coming thick and fast. Now, obviously, the Dortmund game was a bit disappointing, but we saw good signs. If you want to watch my review on that, I did review the game. But this one for me is one of the easier games. Chelsea, for me, need to win this. Southampton at home. I mean, Southampton are by far the worst team in the league so far. Last week, they managed to bottle a 1-0 lead to a Wolves team with 10 men. So I think Chelsea should really comfortably win this game. It's one of those where if you drop points here, I have to start questioning a lot of things. I can understand, the bedding in of players and all of that. And look, the Dortmund game, we saw signs against West Ham. There was positives. Even against Fulham, I saw a few positives. But if we lose to this Southampton side, it's going to be very, very interesting because I feel like a lot of people are already on top of Graham Potter. And if he loses this game in particular, I think a lot of people may turn on him. I won't, but I feel like a lot of people are fed up with some of the results. Going into this game, what to expect? Well, I expect Southampton to play just like West Ham and Fulham did. I expect them to sit deep. Obviously, they're not going to have their new manager yet. They're going to be on their interim coaches on the side. That doesn't always bode well. We always see like a new manager bounce, or at least when the interim staff come in, you see players running that extra yard. Southampton do have some talented young players in there that could hurt us, considering the way we played against Dortmund. We look really open on at least the counter attacks or to counter presses. We look really open, especially in the midfield. So it's going to be interesting to see if we could stop them scoring, but also put in a few goals. I think the key to Chelsea in this game is we got to score 2 or 3 goals and we're going to win the game. I don't see Southampton putting in more than 2 goals. Obviously, in the reverse fixture, we're one of the only teams Southampton has managed to beat this season, so I don't hold out high hopes. Southampton is always an interesting game against Chelsea because sometimes we slap them around. I remember last year we beat them like 6-0 after that Real Madrid defeat. This year, though, after that Dortmund defeat, can we bounce back? The real question is who is going to score the goals, because we haven't been seeing it firing in from anywhere. Yes, João Felix got one, but he's missed a few chances. We know Kai Havertz isn't clinical. Mudryk hasn't even really had a chance to shoot since the Liverpool game, it seems, and it's not like we have goal-scoring midfielders or anything like that. So for me, it's going to be an interesting one. Does Aubameyang potentially come back into the team for this? I mean, I think it is a bit weird. I didn't talk about it in the Dortmund game, but for Aubameyang just to be frozen out and not even in the Champions League squad, for me, was a bit weird. And now I don't think he'll play. I doubt it unless we're really desperate. But for me, it's just Chelsea need to put in some goals in this game and they'll win. The performance has been there, but we need to start seeing results. Especially, I mean, I don't think top 4 is likely, but you never know with teams above us, right? United aren't always the most consistent. Newcastle already look like they're struggling, and Tottenham are awful. So there is a chance of top 4. I wouldn't bet on it, but if we are going to make any kind of push for it, or at least even Europa League, we need to start winning games. Anyway, we're going to get into the team. The team I think should play against Southampton. Now, this is Southampton's last lineup. Will they go with this again? I mean, there isn't too much to be scared of in this team, if you ask me. But like we did with Kerbal, we might make Bazunu look like the best keeper in Europe. So it really depends on the finishing. I think there's a lot of weaknesses in this team. Like, if Maitland-Niles is playing at centre-back, something's gone wrong. A lot of really young players. I mean, they've got some pace up top. They've got some energy in midfield. And, of course, James Ward-Prowse is always dangerous from free kicks and even corner kicks. He's got a great delivery. But I think if Chelsea defend that well and they put in a few goals, we should win. So let's get into the team Chelsea should play. So obviously Kepa is going to play. We know this. Hopefully he doesn't make any mistakes. Reece James, for me, it'll be interesting to see if Graham Potter rotates some of these players. Like, I could see him doing it, but I don't see why. We don't have another game for a week. But I'd be more interested to see some of the players who've come back from injury, like Reece James and Chilwell, to see if he gives them the start. I don't think Chilwell will start in this game, but Reece James should start. I've got him there. We might say we don't want him to get re-injured, but the alternative is playing Azpilicueta. Thiago Silva, for me, is actually an interesting one, whether he will play as well. Obviously, he's been there ever-present. I don't see him not playing, but I'm going to keep him in the team. Badiashile will 100% come back into the side. I don't see him being kept out. It was probably the deal that he plays in the Prem and Koulibaly plays in the Champions League, why he got left out of the squad. Like I said, I don't see Ben Chilwell playing this game, just because, after 60 minutes, he looked absolutely fried against Dortmund. I don't see him getting thrown into the deep end again because his fitness isn't great. Cucurella, I know a lot of people haven't been a fan of what he's doing, but I feel like a lot of people are scapegoating him. Let's not get it twisted. It's a classic Chelsea fan move to start scapegoating players. We've seen it over the years with different people. They latch onto one person and they'll throw all their criticism at him, and then they won't levy it across the team. Like, we've seen it with Kepa. We've seen it with Willian, was a big one. Even I scapegoated Willian a bit. We've seen it with Mason Mount quite a lot. of recent years. And before that, even going back earlier, I think John Obi Mikel was one of the first ones who was getting scapegoated. For me, Cucurella, he's not as bad as everyone says he is. Yes, he does look devoid of confidence a little bit. And I'm not saying he's been playing well, but he's not been as bad as people say. I would stick him back in there. In fact, I would like to see Lewis Hall come back into the team, but I don't know if he had some kind of injury. He hasn't featured for a while. In midfield, Enzo Fernandez has to play. I would bring Kovacic back into this game. I know Loftus-Cheek has done pretty well in his 2 games, but I mean, the man is bound to drop a disaster class eventually. Like, it comes pretty often. Loftus-Cheek never plays 3 or 4 games very well in a row. You know, it's always up and down with him. I think Kovacic or Zakaria has to come in for this game, in my opinion. In fact, maybe he plays both. I don't know if he's going to rotate. João Felix, again, he's been very good apart from his finishing over the last 2 games. He makes things happen. I think Madueke is a surefire to come back in. I don't think Ziyech played that well against Dortmund. I mean, Madueke, fresh legs, pace on that right side. I think he should start. And on the other wing, I think Mykhailo Mudryk, this is a great game for him to potentially build some confidence, because I think there's a chance Chelsea could score a few goals, and we'd like him to maybe get one to boost that confidence, because he has been struggling. His Dortmund performance, for me, he was by far the worst player on the pitch, and he needs to improve, especially for that price tag. Up front, I haven't removed Havertz, and I've gone for Fofana, mainly out of pure hope that Graham Potter will give us a real striker. Like, I feel like this Kai Havertz up front thing, it's never going to work, because he's not a striker. We know he's not a striker. His finishing ability isn't good, right? We also know he doesn't want to play there. He said it multiple times. He is not interested to play up front. He wants to play deeper, and he only plays there because he has to. I think you've got Datra Fofana. Unless he's injured, why wouldn't he play? Like, he looked lively in his cameos. And against a team like Southampton, where, you know, there's a chance to get goals, why not give him a chance? And especially since Kai Havertz has played so many minutes. You got to, you know, maybe cut his minutes a little bit, in terms of, you don't want him to get injured, or you don't want him to just get jaded. We've seen that with players in the past. I think we've seen that with Mason Mount currently. This is the team I would go with. I think every game right now, we're trying to win. We're not trying to rotate. It's not like we have FA Cup or games to worry about or anything like that. And our next Champions League tie is in a few weeks. So I think this is the team we should go with. It would be interesting to see maybe Zakaria and Kovacic. I go in between with them. I don't want to see Loftus-Cheek again, to be honest. We need someone with physicality in that midfield. So maybe Zakaria would be good. It depends how far back they are from injury as well, because they didn't even feature against Dortmund, which says a lot to me. But yeah, just to round it off, the keys for this game, literally, don't concede from a silly counter, from a silly corner or free kick. We know that's exactly what Southampton are going to play for. And just if you put in 1 or 2 goals early in this game when Chelsea are on top, we will win, in my opinion. I expect to see 2 or 3 goals. I'm going to go with 3-0 Chelsea, probably overshooting the mark. I have faith that we will finally score some goals. Southampton are the perfect team to do it against. They are bottom of the league, brother. If we cannot beat these men, then we are finished. If we can't beat these men, then who can we beat, to be honest? But it's a very Chelsea thing to do, to lose this game at home. I won't even be watching this match live, because I've got to work tomorrow during the game. I will be keeping a close eye on it, and then I'll probably watch the full match when I'm free. And then we'll do the review of it on Sunday. Hopefully when that review comes out, I'll be happy. Chelsea would have won. We'll have 3 more points, and we'll be looking on the up and up. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.